everyone, this is Kelly with Kellyscards.ca, and this is a video tutorial that I'm doing for stamps plus fun equals creativity. So to start out, I am going to be scoring this Simon Says stamp 120-pound cardstock, and I'm going to be using this as my card base. This cardstock is very thick. It makes one of the best card bases that actually you can make. It's very, very strong. And then I'm going to take some pattern papers from this MME paper pack, which I believe I got at Michael's. And then I'm going to be taking some of these pieces and from this paper pack, and I'm just going to be making different shapes and strips. So I'm going to be taking this Simon Says stamp stitch circle die, and I'm going to be cutting some of this paper you see with this circle die. And then I'm going to take that and I'm going to start layering these different pieces on top of my card mat here, which is an off-white color. This particular paper here, I'm going to have a strip that I'm going to cut from it just to add some color variation. And then this piece here was actually a scrap I had already had from previous cards, so I used that as well. And then this pattern paper I was going to cut a square out of and piece it in behind. Now again, this is all from the same pattern paper collection, so it all goes together. So I'm just layering it and trying to figure out how I want the card to sit. Now I'm going to try to pull out some inks here, and I'm going to be stamping a sentiment from this Simon Says stamp collection. And there's a little circle there that says hello, and I thought it would fit perfect on this card. So I'm going to use some of these Hero Arts Pool ink, and I'm going to stamp up the stamp. So I really like the Hero Arts inks. It's very interesting. When you stamp them at first, they appear quite blotchy, but then as the ink goes into the paper and it dries, you get a more consistent tone throughout your stamped image. You can see the stamped image quite good here. So now I'm going to take my 1-inch Martha Stewart circle punch, and I'm just going to punch out this hello. And I'm going to use this as the sentiment on this card. So yeah, there's the one that I just stamped, and as you can see, the difference between the one on the left drying and the one on the right was still wet. So you can see the difference in the drying of the ink. And now we're starting to put it all together. I just love playing with different shapes and strips and putting them on a card to see the different sketches you can have. I have written down many sketches before, and then I kind of take my favorite and go from there. So that's an idea that you can basically draw down shapes on cards. And if you go on Pinterest, you'll see a variety of card sketches to follow. And if you actually go on my Pinterest, there'll be a link in my website for my Pinterest account, you can check out some of the card sketches that I have done there. And there is quite a few sketches to make cards, so you can always have a different card. So here I'm going to adhere the circle, and then on top I'm going to adhere the square. And I'm mostly going to keep this part flat because I'm going to be using some pop-up adhesive shortly. So I'm just layering on the square, and it's good to work on grid paper to try to be as straight as possible. Now for this next part, I am going to glue the one strip to the other, and then I'm going to pop the whole piece up onto pop-up adhesive. So I'm just getting a sense of where I'd like it there, gluing it together, and then I'm going to be bringing in the pop dot shortly to raise this up. And this adds so much interest to this card, having a little bit of the card raised and some of it flat. So for a piece like this, you can use foam adhesive off the rolls, or if you like, you can use the little pieces such as I'm doing. If you're mailing it, you'd probably want to use the pieces off the roll because you don't want it to get squished in the mail. So now that I've put all the pop dots on, I'm ready to adhere this part to the card. And again, we're just going to have it pop up a little bit off the side there. It's going to look really dimensional, as you can see here. It just adds some interest to the card. And then from there, we're now going to adhere the hello circle, which we just punched out. And again, we're going to put this up on pop-ups as well. So just putting, again, some more pop dot adhesive on the back, trying to cover a good amount of the circle. And now I'm going to place the sentiment onto this card. Now for this challenge, you need to have 2 circles. So I have the 1 circle in the back and I have the circle hello sentiment. So now I'm going to take this whole piece, this whole card mat now, and I'm going to now adhere it to the base. And I'm going to use some score tape to adhere the mat to the card base. So this score tape is among one of the stronger adhesives. It is definitely one of my favorite, as I've mentioned before. It doesn't bubble like wet glue, and it is very, very strong. It's much better than tape runners, and I like to adhere my card mats to my base this way. So now we're just taking the adhesive off to get this card put together. And I like to tuck the adhesive ends right underneath so they don't stick out. So here we go, we're going to adhere the mat to the base. And sorry that I'm getting in the way here. There we go. I always like to rub the score tape right down into the card. And as you can see, we've got the dimension now even increased with the sentiment being up on pop dots. So I took some of these wooden stars and I was planning to dye it to match the same color. So I grabbed that Hero Arts Pool ink and I just rubbed the wooden star on and turned it blue, and it matches perfectly now. And then I took some of these Doodlebug sequins. These are the yellow bumblebee sequins. I thought it would be good to take the yellow sequins because of the yellow polka dots on that one strip of paper you see on the card has the yellow in it. So I took a yellow one, kind of a goldy yellow one, and the star, and I arranged it. Now I'm going to use some of this Studio Matte Medium. This adhesive is fastly becoming one of my favorite glues to adhere sequins and little embellishments because it dries matte after it dries. You don't get that shiny look that you would get with most wet glues, and with most embellishments it's probably a better idea to use the wet glue to adhere your embellishments to your card than say a tape or pop dots. This is definitely the best adhesive that you can use. Also, people like glossy accents, but I like this multi-medium because again it dries matte. So yeah, I'm just adhering the sequins here. And this is the final card. I'm so glad you could join me for this Stamps and Fun Equal Creativity card. And I hope that you have a wonderful day. You can check me out at www.kellyscards.ca and have a great day.